Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and you're watching Glenda's Dragon's Den. Um, Welcome to our uh, audience is here every week with us. And thank you for being here. And please do like the stream, share it, and comment on the chat. We love to see whatever comments you have or questions. So please join us. Now, today we have a beautiful soul that she so graciously accepted my invitation again to come back. So, with that, Catherine Lanigan, welcome. How are you, hon?
I'm just fine, Glenda. I'm so glad to see you're all good and well, and everybody's doing well. And this wonderful, wonderful night. This is, as we were talking earlier, there's a full moon tonight. That's really exciting, and we're only a couple of days from Valentine's. So happy Valentine's to everybody who's watching.
Yes, happy Valentine's. And it's
Yeah.
so this moon is definitely very powerful,
Yes.
very exciting, very eye-opening. A lot of
Yes.
things are going to be seeing that, although they were right in front of you, you didn't get to see them
That's right.
for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So, so tell my audience, let's give them a recap of how you got here, and then we'll chat.
We'll go from there.
Yeah,
I am the author of over 60 books. I've been a published author for over 46 years now, which when I look back, I think that's almost impossible, but it is true. And I have a series of angel books. This is my newest one called Angel Timelines.
hmm,
And there are 5 books in the series, and Divine Nudges just came back out. This was I actually wrote this in 2006, I believe, something like that. And then I put some updates in it,
yes.
and it's just a book that needs to come out now. I've had a couple of, readers and reviewers look at it recently, and they just said, "Oh my!" And they did not know about this book at all, and
Mm,
they said that's their favorite of all. So that's kind of interesting, And but this my stories that I write are stories of angelic intervention in human life. And if I can go back a little bit, which I would like to do, is tell the
sure.
story of how I came to be writing my angel books.
Hmm.
Because when in 1987, both my parents were at the Grand Canyon, and both of them had heart attacks while they were looking at the Grand Canyon. And my mother literally fell first. And so my father, they were near the hotel there. So they were able to get an ambulance to come and pick her up. And then they had to go to Flagstaff because that's the nearest hospital.
Hmm.
And as they were wheeling my mother into ICU, my father dropped dead outside the doors of ICU. And he was dead for 22 minutes.
Mm.
And they did the paddles, they, banged on his chest, they broke his ribs, they broke his collarbone, they broke his sternum. I mean, they did the whole thing. I mean, obviously, they did revive him.
Right.
And by the time he was revived, they had determined that my mother had altitude sickness. She actually did not have any heart damage or anything like that. So that part was good. So mother was there to be able to call my sister, who was living here in Indiana at the time. I lived in Houston at the time. So my sister called and she said, you get on a plane. I will get on a plane, at O'Hare, and we will meet in Phoenix. And then she said, I'll find out if we can, get a charter plane to take us up to Flagstaff.
Right.
So we did that. We met in Phoenix. And by the time we got there, it was already 8 o'clock at night, but we did have a charter plane. Now, this is in 1987. That's not today with a charter flight. Okay. So there's like, it's called a puddle jumper, really. There's like
Right.
4 seats in the plane, barely wings to fly and a little propeller.
Uh-huh.
This was not a jet.
No.
And it was an electrical storm.
Oh,
Now, today, no pilot is allowed to take off in an electrical storm, at least until you go to a third world country, because then I did do it in a third world country, but not
right,
here you can't.
right,
And but back then, I said, well, there's an I said, it's lightning and thundering. Is that's all right, we'll just fly around it. And I'm going, okay, we'll fly around it. And I thought, here's my parents. I don't really know if mother's okay. My dad had died and they brought
right,
him back. And I thought, great, we're just gonna wipe out the whole family in one night. But we did get there. We didn't get there until like midnight.
right.
And but anyway, back then they used to close the hospital so you couldn't come in, but they knew we were coming, and so the nurses let my sister and I in, and we saw my dad. And when I walked in the room,
Hmm.
he was sitting up in the bed. My mother was next to him, and he said, "Oh, Kath, I'm so glad you're here." He said, "I've got so much to tell you, but the first thing I have to tell you is I have to tell you that I love you." Now, I was about 40 years old at the time, and
Hmm.
in all my life, my father had never said, "I love you," without me prompting, like, "I love
Right,
you, Daddy." And he'd say, "Oh, yeah,
right,
me too," or, "Oh, thank you," or that kind of thing.
right.
And so I was like, well, that's really strange. What's going on? So I walked over to the side of the bed and I said, well, Daddy, I love you too. And he said, I have to tell you what happened to me on the other side. And I said,
Mm.
what do you mean the other side? And he said, well, the other side. Now, my father was very, very Catholic, and
Hmm.
Catholics have never, especially then, no one ever heard of the other side. In fact, very few people knew. I mean, unless you were really in the community, you didn't hear
Right,
those words. It was
right,
heaven or it was paradise or something like that.
right.
And so anyway, I said, well, I know what the other side is, but how do you know that that's what they call it? And he says, well, that's what they call it over there. That's not heaven yet. It's just the other side. They don't, he said, that's not what they're calling it. They call it the other side. I went, got it. Gotcha. And he said, so I want to tell you what the being of light told me when I got there. And I said, you mean an angel? And he goes, no, 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 no. Angels are the other guys.
The other guys.
The other guys, literally, this is what he says. Now, my father is an extremely intelligent man. He's Phi Beta Kappa and head of his law class at Notre Dame. So he's very, very intelligent. So for him to say, he was so casual. No, 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 no. The angels are the other guys. They were over there, but I didn't talk to those guys. I'm talking about the guy you meet when you get over there. I'm going, okay. And he said that he is a being of light. And I said, well, what did he say? And he said, well, they said, the first thing he said was, "Oh, we're sending you back." Now, now that we've had so many near-death experience stories and books and
Right.
everything about it, we know that sometimes you have a choice. You can,
Hmm.
do you want to stay? You want to go? What? And he said they did not give him a choice. He had to go back
Hmm.
because he had not learned the only lesson that a human being goes to earth to learn. And I said, and what is that lesson? He said, the lesson of love. And
Mm.
I said, and you had not learned that? And he said, no, but I will now.
Wow.
And he said, that's why I had to tell you that I love you, because
Wow.
I hadn't been doing that.
Mm.
So then I said, and he said, well, that's the part that concerned me, but the rest of it is about you. And I said, wait a minute. You died and he went to the other side, and you come back, and they're talking to you about me. And he goes, oh yeah, that was pretty much all the conversation. And
Oh
I
boy.
said, and I'm like, okay. And he said, well, they said that you're going to write a book. And I said, well, Daddy, since I've already written about 8 or 9 books at this point, I said, that's not out of the picture. And he said, oh no, your writing has to change. And I said, change? How's that? And he said, they want you to chronicle stories like mine and other people who have stories of angels appearing to them, or
Hmm.
miracles and everything, and you're supposed to put them in a book, and then the book's going to be printed, and he said, and it will change the way that people think and act and feel, and how they guide their lives. They change their
Hmm.
lives. And I said, oh, that's really, I said, well, I can do that. And he said, well, that's good, because they said when you die, you'll be judged on those books.
Oh boy.
And now, and I'm, yeah, and I'm thinking, well, no pressure there, right?
Absolutely
Yeah.
none. None.
I mean, I think, we can handle this. So that's where it all started. The very first book in my series was called Angel Watch.
Mhm.
And then was Divine Nudges. Then I had Angel Tales, which I'm in the process of trying to get it back out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and all the places where everybody can get, it's in audio already, actually,
Mm.
and at sounded.com, and Barnes and Noble has all my books on audio, which just happened only about 10 days ago or so. So
Wow.
that's,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
maybe only a week. Yeah. So we've been
Wonderful.
busy getting,
Congrats.
yeah, we're getting, I've been busy the last year. Last year I wrote 7 books.
Mm-hmm.
And
And,
so, and that was
and
after I broke my arms, which I told you about.
I was going to say, and tell them how you were able to do
Yeah, and then I
it.
broke my arms. I fell in the garage. I was getting ready for Thanksgiving because I had guests coming for Thanksgiving, and I fell and I shattered this arm and broke both bones in here. That was, and I mean shattered. I mean, like I could feel it when I sat up. It was all crumbly. And then so I have one plate in this arm after surgery, and I have 2 plates in this arm. But
Mm,
I've been able to get my hands back, and God has blessed me a lot with my
mm,
arms. It was a difficult recovery,
mm-hmm.
but it also had its angelic story that goes with the healing of the
There,
arms.
there you go.
Yeah, and do you want me to tell that story?
Yes, please. Of
Oh, okay.
course.
All right. So about 6 days, maybe a week after I had this was the second I had this one was the first surgery right away. It was like 2 days after I broke it.
Right.
So I had this surgery, and then they waited a week before they did this one because the doctor said it was too much trauma to the body for me to have both surgeries,
Mm-hmm.
both arms, repaired at the same time.
Right.
So about a week later, and by this time now I've got pretty excruciating pain, and I'm an anti-pain pill taker. I mean, I took the minimum that I needed so I would heal. I mean,
Right.
there's a
Right.
point where medicine, modern medicine comes in, and you really need to do it so that you can
Yeah.
heal. I mean, you need to
Exactly.
rest and
Mm-hmm.
sleep and
Mm-hmm.
do all the things you need to do. And I'm a huge natural kind of person, but
Mm-hmm.
having both arms broken, I'm going to take the pills.
Yes.
So, but I also didn't want to take too many of them.
Right.
And
Right.
so anyway, I had gone to bed that night, and I was praying. I just said, I need my angels to come in and help me because I need to heal. I need to heal fast. I have a lot to do, but also there's only so much pain that I could endure.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty tough. So that night, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, quite
Mm-hmm.
honestly, is I heard this noise in the hall, which woke me up because I sat up in bed, and there were 5 beings, not angels. They were not angels. I want to be very clear about that. They were not angels, but there were 5 beings, very tall, 10 feet tall,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even taller. But I have my house is very old, as Glenda knows. It's like 75 years old, and the ceilings are only about 8 feet high. 8 feet high. So
Right.
when they came down the hall, there was no ceiling. It
Right.
had just disappeared, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in, and 2 of them stayed in the hall, and 3 came to my bed. And I sat up in the bed, and one of them moved forward just at the end of the bed, and they were in they were white hair. They had a human-like face. They did not look like an extraterrestrial, like everybody thinks every extraterrestrial looks like
Right.
a gray, and they
Right.
don't, and they
No,
don't,
they don't.
and yeah, they
Many
don't.
different species. Maybe many
Many,
different.
many, many different species,
Right.
and very light eyes, like blue eyes or green, the
Mm-hmm.
light colored eyes. They were not dark eyes at all. So if anybody, wants to know that, but they had white robes on that just seemed to just float around them, and very gossamer like. Like I would have, if I, as a seamstress, I would have said that's at least 10 layers of chiffon. That's it. You know what I mean? It had that kind of
I don't. Right. Right. No, I don't.
feel and everything all about it. Well, anyway, so the main one comes forward to the bed and says, "Present your arm." And
Right.
the worst one first.
Mhm.
And this being took her hand, and I saw her hand. They were very long fingers, but there were only 5 of them. It was not anything
Right.
unusual.
Right.
And ran her, and I say her because there was so much love and so much nurturing in these
Mhm.
beings, and ran her, and there was a sound, but and a light, and I could feel tingling, like a frequency, like a
Mhm.
frequency thing going up and down my arm, up and down my arm. And then I presented the other arm, and then she worked on the other arm, and then she
Mhm.
rolled my hands over, and then she did, like rub my palms. Now here I am writing all these books and stuff. I
Yeah.
did not know until a few nights ago when we had a meditation that there are chakras in your palms. Not,
Yes. Yes.
I did
There's
all the
shadows
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Everywhere.
There
It isn't
and
just the 7.
but I somehow the palm thing missed me. I, I mean, I'm like, yes, sometimes I'm just really clueless about a lot of stuff. Well, anyway, and I kept wondering, like, in the last year or so, we would have these meditations. I'm going, wow, my palms just get so hot, warm, and I just never said anything to anybody about it. I just thought it was really unusual. Well, now I
Mhm.
know. I got these chakra things going on. Well, she spent a lot of time on my chakras in my palms. I mean, honest to God, Glenda, can you believe how dumb that is? So,
No, it's
I mean,
funny.
I
It's
got
just
I
like,
got all the ones going on the top of the head, and I
yeah,
got those other ones that are all around your body. But I
you know,
missed the ones, which
that's the
makes sense,
chakra.
healing hands,
Yes, right.
right?
That's exactly. That's the one that I use when I do any energy healing. So,
See,
yeah.
and I'm sure every healer out there, everybody's listening to your show is going, "Oi!"
But
It's okay, Catherine. You'll get
right.
it. Right? So anyway, she worked on my hands and worked on
Mhm.
my arms, and then she just backed up a little bit. The other 2 came forward, and they just kind of floated down the hall, and I was like, wow. And then I just fell back on the pillow, and I was, like gone until like 10 o'clock in the morning the next morning. I mean, it was
Mhm.
a very, very deep sleep. Well, anyway, when I went back to the doctor about 2 weeks after that,
Mhm.
I had to go for to they were doing an x-ray on this arm.
Mhm.
And I was into I was doing my therapy and all this kind of stuff. And my therapist kept saying, wow, your grip is pretty good. Because that was the whole thing is, it's one thing to put plates in your arms, but you've got to make your hands work, which
Right.
they didn't,
Exactly. Right.
and he said, you're coming back awfully fast. And he said, well, I'll go in the back and find out about your x-rays. And came back, and he said, they almost thought about taking your x-rays again. And I said, why? And he said, because you're healing awfully fast.
Mhm.
And I went, well, I had some help. And I said, but I'm not really sure you could handle what I got to tell you how I got that help. But later, I had a meeting with a friend of mine that's a really, really good psychic and works with the angels a lot. And
Mhm.
I said, I want to tell you what happened. And I said, I just want to know where they're from.
Mhm.
I said, I know that they were light beings. And she said they were. She said they were not angels. And
Right.
I said, but where are they from? And she said they are here, and they are telling me that they are from your home planet, which
Mhm.
doesn't exist anymore. The planet is gone,
Mhm.
but the beings got on ships, and they live on
Right.
ships.
Right.
But that planet is not even in our solar system.
Mhm.
And I
Yep.
said, that's my home planet. And I'm going, and I don't have a name. She says, no. gee whiz, I can't even say I'm going to have a homecoming or anything to go back to my home planet. That's like not fair.
Well, those are the beings that took me a couple of times and healed
Did
me a
that
few times.
really?
Yeah. Well, I've had cancer. In 2021 was my fifth time,
I've had a
and
three. I've had three.
and the three of the other ones they healed it completely where I didn't need any surgery, and
No
so
surgery. Wow.
surgery, no treatment, nothing.
Nothing.
The doctors
Wow.
thought that they was just a mistake or the lab
Oh
made
yeah,
a
they're going, oh
mistake.
well, we just, we got the x-rays mixed up.
Well, no, yeah, they had
They've always got some excuse.
they had all the tests done, and I was positive, and they were ready to do surgery, and then they retested it, and they said it's all gone. I'm like, yeah, I know,
Yeah,
and
I know.
I just kept quiet. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm already looked at kind of crazy. That's okay. I'll pass.
Yeah, I get that too. Yeah. There she
Yeah,
is, the crazy lady again. That's what my doctors used to say back in the day. Yeah. They
hmm
said, well, I had a doctor, he said, well, if you're here this early in the morning, he said, so do we have an angel come in again? And I go, yep. And he goes, all right, we'll go take some tests. And he said, yep, sure enough, you got a tumor about the size of a 4-month fetus. We're going to do
hmm
surgery in the morning. And I said, okay. But I never did it. I never did chemo, radiation, nothing. I said,
right,
nope. I said, I believe in surgery. Get rid of it. That's fine.
right,
Now, this is also 35 years ago,
yeah, yeah.
at least 35 years ago. Yeah. So, I mean, today I'd probably try to go your route and not even have the surgery. That'd be pretty cool.
hmm hmm Well,
That's boy,
it's
congratulations on that
thank
one.
you. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
you too. You too.
Yeah,
Because they
thank
told
you.
you so they could get it out before it got worse. So
Yeah,
that's
yes.
always,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's healing
I
in itself. So,
it really is because the angel came in that night. I went to the doctor. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, went to the doctor. I was sitting outside his door when he came in that morning, and he said, so we've had an angel talk to us again because this was my second time to have cancer.
right, right.
And so he was very familiar with my story by that time. He goes, yeah, if you're here, some angel's been talking to you. I said, yeah, yeah. So anyway, and those stories are in my book. So if anybody wants to know, those stories
Yes,
really are. Yeah, they're in the
definitely.
books.
And they could
Yeah.
find them at its first, if nothing else, right in your website, correct?
Oh, absolutely. At
Yeah, yeah.
www.catherinelanigan.com. Yeah.
Yes,
But
yes.
also Barnes and Noble's been really good. They've got everything up on the site. It's just great. And I'm slowly getting things onto Amazon. So we have I have a lot of my older, some of my romances and stuff are still on
Right.
ebook on
Hey,
Amazon.
those
So
that come on. You can't get rid of those, no
I
matter what
know, right?
angel.
And I and I still have a couple more that are, going to come out this year and next. So that's
Cool.
kind of fun. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
very, very
we need food also, right? Not just the angels.
yes, we
So we
do.
need
We do. We need
we
and I've
the
always written
love, the
things that
romance.
yeah,
That that's
and
healing.
Valentine's is romance, Valentine's
Exactly.
is so here's my Valentine's story. I have to tell my Valentine's story
Oh,
because
of
this is
course. Go
very, very
ahead.
important. Okay.
Hmm
So when I was growing up, my father's favorite holiday was Valentine's because he said, now this is interesting because when he died, they said he had not learned the lesson of love, but his favorite
Right.
holiday was Valentine's Day because it was the only holiday that was just meant for love. So he
Wow.
had it in his soul. He just
Right.
didn't tell the people he loved that he loved them. That was all.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So anyway, by this time my father's passed away. This is he died in 92, and then this takes place um maybe 90 Christmas of 98.
hmm
Okay. So Christmas of 98, I'm living in Houston, and my fiance at the time and I were taking down the Christmas tree, or putting up the Christmas tree. And I had a ring that had a 1 carat diamond it was one of these stair step things, kind of swirled around, and then the diamond was in the top. Well, after
Right.
we finished putting up the tree, somewhere that diamond had been knocked off in the middle of the tree.
Mm.
So we searched and searched and searched for this diamond, and couldn't find it. And then when it came to be the end of the Christmas season, we were literally cut off every limb looking for the diamond. Never found the diamond, gone, it's over with.
Mm.
So then Valentine's Day was coming along, and I had a couple of friends in Houston that had talk shows. And so I was on one of the talk shows, and at the end of the show, the guy said, the commentator said, "So if you could have anything for Valentine's Day, Catherine, what would you like to have for Valentine's Day?" And I said, "I would like to have a sign from my father that he is still around and he loves me. That's what I
Mm.
would like to have for Valentine's Day." So that happens, okay? And
Right.
that was, I think we had done that maybe the last part of January. So then uh the next day, I had, at that time I had a fairly large house, and I had a girl that came in, once a week. Maria came in once a week and cleaned the house. And I had gone someplace, and I came back, and I had this, and in my closet was very large at that time. And I had a countertop, and then on the countertop I had perfume bottles, and there was one that was in a box, and it was a Boucheron bottle that looked like a bracelet. And at the
Okay.
top of and at the top of the bracelet was a blue stone that was like, in a pyramid kind of thing at the top of
Mm-hmm.
this little glass bracelet. And I started to get dressed, and at the top of the apex of that blue stone was a diamond, a loose diamond.
Mm-hmm.
And so I picked up the diamond. I went downstairs and I said, "Maria, did you find this diamond?" She goes, "I didn't touch nothing. It's not. I didn't do it. I didn't do. I had nothing to do with it. I didn't even. I not see that. No." So I said, "Okay, well, where did?" So I thought, well, maybe somehow my diamond had gotten into a sleeve of my, sweater or something, and
Right.
it fell
Right.
out, so something like that. So then my fiance said, "What would you like for Valentine's Day?" And I said, "I would like to have a heart that has diamonds, And he said,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, I'll tell you what, we'll take that diamond that you've got. Do you still have the papers on it?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, I'll send it to my guy in Dallas, and I'll tell him what I'd like to have, and then we'll trade that diamond in for a heart of diamonds,
Right.
so something like that." So anyway, so we sent it FedEx to the guy. 2 days later, the guy calls, Simon calls, and he says, "I need to talk to you." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because you sent the papers with this diamond." I said, "Yes." And I had sent the rest of the ring as well. And then I had a little sapphire put in the ring. So he had the
Right.
ring. So he knew that that he knew that what the diamond should be in that ring.
Right.
And he said, "Well, we have a problem." And I said, "What's the problem?" And he said, "Well, the diamond that's in these papers is a 1 carat of flawless diamond." And I said, "Yes." I said, "That's what I sent you." And he said, "No, this is a 1.5 carat diamond." And no, the 1 carat had I can't remember. One of them had a flaw, this one
Right.
didn't. And I said, "What are you saying?" And he said, "It's two different stones, Catherine."
Ooh.
And he said, "Where did this stone come from?" And I said, "I do not have loose diamonds running around my house. I have nothing else that has diamonds in it except for that stone." And so he said, "Well, don't worry about it." He said, "Because of the flaw, because of the sizes and everything, that, it all works out to the same dollar amount, and I can make the diamond necklace." Well, this is the heart Valentine necklace
Beautiful.
that we had made out of. So this is from my father. This
Mm-hmm.
necklace is from my father, and from my fiance, who has now passed on. He's on the other side too. So both my dad and my fiance are over there too, on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So for Valentine's Day, it's always such a special story, because when people, because now everybody talks about the multiverse and the different
Right.
dimensions and the parallel lives and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I am here to tell you that all of that is absolutely true. Now,
Exactly.
unfortunately, I have not had a bunch of other diamonds show up in my life, in my closet. which would be lots of fun. But I have the one. I have the story of the one.
Yes, that would be great. If we could just convince, some of the other some of the other beings, hey, a few, just drop them around.
Gold coins, that'd be great. I'll take some Krugerrands. Anything you want to drop my way, I'll be taking it.
Exactly. We
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 don't have
could
to
do.
go for pennies. Although now that we're not going to have pennies, and now that I know that costs 3.7 cents to even make a penny, I'm
Uh,
saving every penny.
yeah.
That
No,
copper is going to become very valuable.
exactly,
So my
exactly.
advice to everybody is, if you got pennies in the house, get those little papers, wrap them up, and save them for a decade.
Yeah, yeah. Because by then it's going to
Really,
be a really good investment.
they will be rare.
Yes.
Certainly something to hand down to my grandchildren. And you got a bunch of grandchildren. You need to
Yes.
save all those pennies, right?
I can just hear them say, "What did your grandmother give you? She gave me a penny." What? What do you mean she
Yeah, it's encased in plastic so that nobody can spend it.
right.
Just keep it. In 100 years, it'll really be worth something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's my very happy Valentine's story for everybody. Is just I always say is all of my stories are about your spirit guides and your family members and friends who have passed on. They're still all around you. Talk about never being alone. We Bill and I joke all the time, is our house is so full of people. We got aliens, we got angels, we got light beings, we've got healers, we've got family friends. I'm always saying, oh my God, there's another there's somebody's in the kitchen, and I'm going, Bill, are you in the kitchen? No, I'm right here. Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I could really understand that. I have a house from 1900, so
Oh, you really
it,
have.
hmm
Wow.
yeah. Most of them we made a deal when I first bought the house. Everybody goes to the attic. That's your space up there.
Yeah.
Pass the attic down. Let's not mix it because I had, the kids were younger,
Sure.
and especially my youngest one was it was still a very teenager, and
Mhm.
so I didn't want them to be influenced by, mischief, the little sneaky being. Oh, you can do
Yeah.
that.
They're
It's
just trying to
okay.
get attention. It's like,
Right.
no.
Uh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But mine are all good, basically. There's just
Yeah.
they exist. They exist. We're all cool. We're fine. No, nobody messes with
Yeah,
anybody.
I have all kind. I have a lot of boundaries. You can't
Right.
disturb my sleep. It's if you need to talk to me during the day, or we're trying to help someone, that's
Right.
entirely different.
Right.
And especially if we're calling on you to help with protection or help heal somebody or help the earth.
Right.
I expect y'all to go to work, and nobody's lazy around here. No,
Nope. Nope.
no, we're not having any lazy people, but I do need my sleep, which
Hmm.
I don't get as much of these days as I used to. So
Nah.
what
Nah.
little I do get, I need. So
Well,
that's fortunate.
unfortunately, everything is happening so fast that
It
I,
is
I'm also wait. They're also waking me up in what I call the witching hour, anywhere around
yeah,
3,
from three
and
o'clock on. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like I'm like, what'd you say? Oh, wake up. Okay, you said to wake up. Oh, really? Okay, can't we have this discussion daytime? You
yeah,
know, but sometimes I come to the computer and I sit here and I just type, and
yes.
and you know things just, and I'm like, huh, okay, I got took another
Well,
chapter from the next book.
especially if there's something really big that they have to tell you. I do the same thing. I either have to
Yeah,
get up and go to the computer, or I've got to sit down and write it down. But
yeah,
sometimes they're giving me so much information, I have to be at a computer to type it as fast as
right,
I can, because there's
exactly.
just so much. There's been so much about the world and the earth. What we're going through. and just even the explanations of of all the solar flares and the changes
Mm-hmm.
in our DNA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all last year, I can't, I said to a friend, I said, God, I don't know what's wrong with my hair, and she said, what do you mean your hair? Your hair is fine. And I said, well, my head just, and she said, your skin, or do you have headaches? I said, no, it's my skin on my scalp.
Right.
And she said, that's part of the ascension. And I went,
Yeah.
oh, great. Now, now I have not a headache that I can take an aspirin for, but I
Yeah.
have this I can't even scratch my head because it hurt, but I really had that was
Mm-hmm.
part of the ascension flu or whatever
Yeah,
whatever name they
because
gave it.
they're in order for you to be able to ascend, they have to work on every single cell. That
Yeah,
includes the scalp, and so they
right,
have to change things there in
right,
order for you to be more open. Because
right.
you know yourself, we only use part of our brain, very little of our brain,
Yeah.
and they want to expand that. They want us to get to the point where we used to be, where we could just
That's
talk to
correct.
each
Where
other.
we used to be,
Yeah,
exactly where we used to be.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
wherever that is. And by the way, those beings, not only have I seen them, but they are also you guys. If you are part, you're. She told you that you were one of them. That was your home
Mm-hmm.
planet. You also went to Sirius, so you Sirius B.
Yeah.
When they were coming over, the ship stayed there for a little bit. Some beings
Mhm.
got off the into the planet, and then you traveled. You decided to come to Earth.
Right.
Um, it was interesting. It was an interesting journey for you guys.
Yeah.
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 So those are beautiful beings, by the way.
They are beautiful.
They're
And I
beautiful.
do have actual remembrances of being there and who I was. And I've had uh I don't even want to call it a dream. It's when I woke up, and this is 30 years ago. This isn't like,
Hmm.
just recently. I mean, this has
Hmm.
been going on for quite some time in my life. And who I was and what I did. And I was the gatekeeper for the planet. And
Hmm.
I had to work in this that was like this lighted pod. And
Hmm.
I was tall, I was probably, 7, 8 feet tall,
Hmm.
and I had a tremendous amount of hair. I mean,
Hmm.
I had this thick braid like this of hair down my back. I mean, and my outfit, I had a dark blue kind of, skin tight suit thing that I had
Hmm.
on, and I wore a midnight blue cape and the best boots ever. I
It's
had
always
no
about the
idea.
fashion, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's all about the fashion. I'm gonna tell you what, I was like, I want that suit. It felt so good. I mean, it was just everything was
and,
just so comfortable, you
and
know.
that sphere was inside a crystal triangle.
Yes. And
Yes, I
and
know.
I lived out there, and because I had a pure heart.
Uh-huh.
Anyone who entered the planet had to pass by my pure heart. I had to test their heart before
Hmm.
they were allowed to even go on the planet. No, it was all peace and love
Yeah.
and unity and freedom. So creative, so beautiful, and it was absolutely amazing. And I remember being on the ship, later being on the
Mhm.
ship, and I can remember walking onto the ship and everyone there went
Mhm.
commander. I was the commander of one of the particular ships.
Mhm.
So and that's more than 30 years, maybe 40 years ago, the first time I saw it. And I went, where am I? What? And it was, and it's the same, variations of it, maybe with different conversations or other
Right.
people that I've seen there. But that whole scenario is absolutely, I mean, that's
Mhm.
real. I mean,
It is.
I
It
can,
is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I can see that crystal triangle change
Hmm.
color when the person did was not good of heart.
Yeah,
Did not.
yeah, that's how I knew.
Yep.
Yeah. It was when it was a really pure heart, it was all crystal, and then just iridescent, like that beautiful fairy iridescent
Yeah. Yeah.
multicolors. It's just like everything was perfect, everything was balanced, everything was just gorgeous, and
Peace and
then when it
tranquility.
wasn't,
Yeah.
yeah, peace and tranquility. And when it wasn't,
It wasn't.
rejected. Not, I'm going, not on my watch. Right?
Your visa has not been cleared.
Yeah, no stamp, no
No
stamp for
stamp.
you.
Thank you.
Passport denied.
You're on the
Yeah,
no
you're
fly,
right.
no fly risk.
Yeah,
Oh Lord. But yeah,
yeah.
I remember seeing that triangle, and I remember
Hmm.
seeing the sphere, and I remember the trip, and I know
Hmm.
you had a lot of command. You had a lot of self-confidence, just like you do now too. So,
Yeah,
which is, I guess, how you're using it for now. So good,
yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Now, when
And,
when they disturb you in the middle of the night, do you tell them no,
hmm.
not now? Because I know I do. But do they give you do they give you ideas for books?
Actually, yes.
Hmm.
Yes. In fact, I have one that's it's in audio right now. It's not in print yet, but it's called It's You. And I gave it to another professional. I said, I want you to, I've had two editors read it who said, they absolutely loved it. But this person, I knew that she had read a lot of romances.
Hmm.
And I thought, if I can pass by this chick who's read, hundreds of romances for years and years, then it's in audio. It's called It's You. It's in audio. It's got a sailboat on the front, but it's I was this is probably, I can't even remember how many years ago, but anyway, I this resounding voice. It's almost like St. Michael's voice, but even stronger. And it was, Catherine, wake up, like that. And I
Hmm.
woke up, and then, and just like this, he goes, her name is Jazz. And it was so haunting. I got up from the bed, I went to the computer, and I wrote for 3 hours. And I
Mm.
wrote the whole storyline, not the
Right,
book, obviously, because
right,
it took me
right.
6 months, maybe a year to write the book. It's a big book. But and I did a tremendous amount of research to make sure that it's just, it's perfect. It's the way I
Hmm.
want it. But that night, that whole book came to me just like that. And there's another one. It's called Not on Your Life,
Hmm.
and it's a thriller. Actually, it's on audio on in Barnes and Noble. It's got a Haviland a de Havilland Beaver plane, flying over Alaska,
Okay.
and but it's about a girl who is on the run all her life from assassins.
Mm, that's interesting.
It is very
I'm
interesting.
gonna have to go pick that one up.
Yeah. Now I have to tell you a story, and your audience is gonna love it.
Go ahead.
So I write this book, and I send it to an editor in New York, a big one, right?
Hmm.
And and she says, well, this whole story about, how she's running, she's been running since a little kid and everything. And she goes, that's that's implausible. No, it
Hmm.
doesn't work like that. And I said, actually, that's my life story.
There you
I said,
go.
I've taken that. I said, I took that from I said, my father was a prosecuting attorney here in our county, a county
Hmm.
prosecuting attorney when my parents were first married, and I'm the first child. And so when my dad would put somebody away in prison, and then he'd either break out or get out the first thing, and this happened, this isn't just one time. I mean, this is maybe a half a dozen times.
Right.
And so they get out of prison, and they threaten the wife and the children, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to kill your wife, and I'm going to kill the kids, blah, 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 blah. And I can't tell you, at least 5, 6 times that I can think of is my little baby brother and I would have our little pajamas. Remember, there? Well, you're too young, but we used to have pajamas that had the little feet in them. You
I'm
know.
not that young. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, the little feeder. And we wake up in the back of the car, and my dad is driving us from Indiana to Florida to my grandmother's house. He would drive us straight through the Smoky Mountains and everything,
Oh,
drop us off at my grandmother's, drink a pot of coffee, and turn around and drive back because he had to go find this. Had to help the police find the
right.
killer that he put in prison, who's trying to kill
Oh,
his kids. And then when the coast is clear and the guy's behind bars again, then
right.
my dad would come down and pick us up. And I thought, that this is before I go to kindergarten, right?
Right. Right.
And so I thought all children lived on the lam. So then I have this notable editor saying, I love the book, but I mean that whole backstory and not that whole thing about her, running from, her family had to live off the grid, when she's little. And I said, well, we did. I mean, one time it was really bad. My mother had to even leave her mother's house, and we had to go live in this cabin
Oh
in the
my.
middle of frickin' nowhere in Florida, And I mean, no, there was an outhouse,
Oh boy.
and I mean, just we had a pump, you had to pump the
Mm-hmm.
water, and I'm going,
Oof.
hey, sorry. Then when I told her that, she was so embarrassed, and she said, "Well, I'm not going to buy the book," and I went, "Okay, fine." So there you go, kids. Just so you know. But anyway,
Anything
it's
could
called.
happen to anybody.
I know. It's called Not on Your Life. It's really good. It's a really good story. It's a thriller. I mean, her
Mhm.
life is in danger all the time, and there's always an assassin after her. So
Right. Right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, growing up that way, like you said, you thought that was natural, and then you
Yeah,
discovered it wasn't.
yeah, you have 6 years of that, wasn't everybody doing that? How come they don't how come they're not leaving like we do?
At least it didn't continue, because imagine that just disappearing for 2 months from school, and you're like,
Yeah.
so
Now
came
see,
back.
but then by the time we got into school, then my father went into private practice. He
Okay,
stopped being, county attorney. So
that was good. That was good.
yeah, that was good.
Can't
Yeah.
imagine that. Uh, he's probably up there going, now, ladies, I would have fixed this somehow.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, I got the kids out of there. Wasn't that
Right.
good? That's fine with me. I love my grandma.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. And it's always good a time to spend with grandparents. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No. And that experience in the cabin must have been really interesting with the outhouse and all that too. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
survive. So
So uh, I know
the
that we're starting to wind down here, but
yeah,
one of the things I want to really tell everybody is,
yes.
it's a full moon tonight and we got Valentine's coming up, and just please remember that it is about love. And if you can do anything for it, certainly for tonight, is go to sleep tonight, just before you go to sleep tonight, and send your love to the entire world. We
Mm,
are right on the verge of having peace on earth, maybe for the first time. I mean, real peace on earth. And each person, with all the stuff that we've been talking about with the solar flares and changes in our DNA and ascension and everything, every single person, animals too,
mm,
are all being upgraded. We're being all uplifted and changed.
yeah.
And we have a greater capacity for love than we've ever had before.
Mhm,
So this is the time to do it. In these
mm,
next few days, make the most of them. Just your one little thought, just a fleeting thought. You have no idea how it can be expanded and just go all over the whole earth. And you can change somebody's life.
mhm,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Hmm.
and it doesn't cost anything. Just sending
It
the
doesn't
intention.
cost a thing.
Just the intention. So
Yes, the intention.
exactly. So
Yeah.
we I always love to have you on. because
I always love
even
being
even
here.
on and off camera, we always have the great talks.
We do.
So,
We do. We
but
could go on
I,
for like 2 hours, but you know.
yep, yep. So
Really?
yeah, I know. So
Yeah.
that's the reality, because we have so much in common, and so even those different lives completely, a lot of things in common.
A lot of things
So,
in common, and but you know, real true soul sisters, you know, for you
hmm
know, back in the 70s when they said soul sisters, it's not anywhere near what soul sisters are today. We're so aware and so awakened
hmm
and so many of us, especially because the veil is getting so thin, you know, our angels are coming in, the divine beings are coming in and saying, wake up, you know, realize who and what you are. You are more than just this physical body, and
hmm
don't believe anybody who's telling you that you're not, or that you're nothing, because you're not. You're incredibly special. You are a creative being. You can create anything, especially your own future. So
yes,
make it positive, make it good. And you know what? Why not visualize gold coins showing up in your living room floor? I don't have a problem with that.
diamonds, diamonds. We got to
Diamonds and
visualize
diamonds
diamonds.
too. Diamonds and gold coins. And
Why
food in the
not?
refrigerator and all the bills paid. Yeah,
Exactly,
right.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. So, we're gonna put up their website so they can see all of your books there, and then all the
Yeah,
other things that you got going. Do you have
yeah.
anything coming up? Any events or?
I do. Well, we're going to be going to, actually, we've got two big, we're going to be at Contact in the Desert in California, which is the end of May, 1st of June.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be there. And then we're also going to be at Lilydale. I'm giving speeches in Lilydale on the Angels. And that
Ooh,
is on July 27th, I will be there. So if
ooh,
you want to contact lilydaleassembly.com, I think it's .com. It might be .org now that I think about it, but it is Lilydale assembly.
mm-hmm.
And then we've got some trips, you know, to Mount Shasta, Hawaii, the kind of stuff this year. So far, that's what we have. It's gonna, and
Well,
my granddaughter's getting married in the middle of all of this. So
there you go.
I
There
mean,
you
I'm
go.
like, I mean, I'll be packing my bag here in about a week or so, and then we'll see everybody in August.
Well, you never know. You might see me in Lilydale, because it's not,
Yeah,
it's a few hours, but we could.
but it's not that far. Yeah,
No,
right.
not that far.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
it's not that far.
yeah. So if you see this little tiny girl over there going,
That would be Glenda.
that'd be me. That'd be me. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. Anything last that you want to leave the audience with?
I want to say happy Valentine's Day from all the angels. They are, like I said, we had maybe that was off camera. Last night we had a beautiful, beautiful meditation, and there were millions of angels that came into the earth. Not just one angel for you, but two, three, four, whatever you need. Just ask them for some help. If you need help, don't get depressed. Get in charge, take charge of your life, ask them to help, and then after they do, because they will help you, please say thank you. That's all they want. They want the job, and they want some thank you. And it's just like us. If we go to work and we do a good
Yeah,
job, we really just want to be appreciated. You
exactly.
know, it's nice to get your paycheck, but you know what? Most people leave their job because they don't feel appreciated.
Exactly.
And that's what the angels want. They want
Mhm.
they just want to be appreciated. And you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for 10,000 of them. There's nothing
No,
wrong. There's plenty of
no,
them.
right.
Plenty, plenty, plenty for everybody. And all the masters, Jesus, Buddha, everybody, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, they're all there. They want to
Mhm.
help. They're there to talk to you if you are down and out or need help with an addiction or any kind of
Yeah.
behavior problems. Ask for help. The divine is there all around you to help every single minute of the day and night.
Mhm.
And there's no shame. They
No.
don't believe in shame. There's no shame in asking and getting some help. I mean, look at Glenda and me. We both had cancer. We both had problems.
Yeah.
We asked for help and we got it.
Exactly.
And we
Exactly.
got it. So
And you know, the
you can
only
do
thing
the
is,
same.
yeah, the only thing is you do have to ask because of free will.
Yeah.
They don't
You
want
have
to
to ask.
intervene.
They are not going to come in if you don't ask.
Right.
And they're just, you know what? They're sitting around on bar stools, swinging their legs, going, are they ever going to ask us to help out?
Well, mine are probably drinking a little, but
Just a little bit, not
just
too
a
much.
little, not too much, but
Yeah,
that's
they can only sip. They can't, or they
right.
can smell, but they
Right.
can't really drink or eat, so it's okay. But and if you're and also I do want to say this. If you are grieving, if because I went through years of grief. I lost my mother, my sister, and my husband at the time, all within a 5-year period.
Mm.
And that's just like an onslaught. And I know people that have lost like almost all their family in a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so much shock. Give yourself a break. Know that you're but get help. There are grieving counselors. My books all have near death experiences in them. I tell stories about when I was a grief counselor.
Mm-hmm.
Please just get help. It's
Yep.
okay. Pick up the phone, whatever you need. So,
Definitely.
and
Definitely.
God bless every single one of you, just for listening. And just know that God loves you, and so do I.
Yep.
So does
Yep.
Glenda.
So do I. So do I.
So Glenda.
Well, thank you, Catherine, as always. You know, she'll hold on
Oh,
for a
it's
second.
always a pleasure. It's
Of
always a
course it
pleasure and my honor. I love you dearly.
I love you too, honey. You know that.
I do. I
And
do.
we love our audience
Yes, we
and
do.
we love everyone we meet. That's the good thing about us.
That is the good thing about it.
As always, many blessings, and we'll see you next week. And go to Catherine's website, guys, so you can catch up on everything that's going on. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll decide to also go to Lilydale, and I'll meet you guys there in person also.
Now
So,
that would be lovely.
right?
That would really make Lilydale exciting. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
All right. Have a good one and good
Thank you.
night. Many blessings. We love
And
you.
love you. Happy
Bye.
Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's.